Hello! It's been a long time since my last video, so I thought I'd pop in for a 5-minute. And I don't remember if I've told you these things before because I've been busy building the new AMD Ryzen based machine. So we'll go over that in another video in a minute. Right now I've got something on the worktop. This is my new worktop. This is my new little desk helper area for my camera. This is where I hope to start doing more of my modelling bits and bobs. But what have I got to show you? Well, first of all, we have the upgrade to the server that you've seen me tinkering with. So what we've got in here are a pair of E5 2660 Xeons. So these are 8-core, 16-thread, 2.2 gigahertz with a turbo 3 gigahertz processors. And these are going to go in my big new server that you've seen me tinkering with. But what I wanted to do before I fit these is, obviously you've seen me do the boot drive. So we've got the SSD boot drive, we've got 32 gigabytes of RAM in it, and I've got another 32 on order. But I'm thinking of cancelling that 32 and going with another supplier in China. It depends if they've dispatched or not. Before we do all of this though, discs were required, and you might hear a hum in the background. Well, the hum is not the new machine. If I take you on a little whiz, that's this machine. So this is my socket 775 to 771 Frankenstein Xeon server. That's my current Git server and Docker container repository thing. So it's a very simple machine. It only has 8 gigs of RAM, and it only has 4 cores, I think. So it runs 2 containers and it runs Git for me. Yeah, in case you're wondering, I've got a really bad eye. So this going from 4 cores down under there, or on this side, this server as it is with 8 cores in it. So it has 2 4-core processors, giving me 8 total. To go to 32 threads total will be a big upgrade. And this cost 50 quid. It cost nearly nothing, so I'm hoping that'll be all fine. But before that, discs. Why is this one here? So this is one of the disc caddies that you've seen me shuffling in and out. But the reason this is here is because of the rather bad written message there. Dropped. And when I dropped it, bad things happened, like that. Yes, I thought about soldering this back on. It looked like an absolutely clean break, but yeah, it's damaged the connector. I don't know what it's done on either side of these wings. I think also it's damaged this thing, this surface mount component. So what happened was I had it this way up, and I was taking it down into the server this way, and it just dropped, and it just caught a corner, and I think it's scraped all sorts off. So I'm not going to trust this drive. It's only a 450 gigabyte drive, so at the moment I'm down to 11 of them from 10. Obviously you just unscrew the caddy, drop the new drive on the caddy and screw it back up, and then put this in, put it into the machine. So that's where I'll be going. So that's the first step. So what I'm also going to run smart and run some intensive testing and do some other bits and bobs with those drives, because they are all second-hand. They all just came in the box. Yeah, they're okay. I mean, I might be able to get some second market, aftermarket ones that are refurbished with a little bit of warranty on them. But I'm going to run them in 2 sets of 6, 12 drives total, 6 in one mirror, 6 in the other mirror. So there'll be 2 mirrored, so actual mirrored. So there'll be, every time I write data to one of the 2 pools, there will be 6 copies of the exact same data. That's got to be enough. And it's not RAID. This is not a RAID. This is just going to be a Z pool with a mirror in it. And that's one of the videos I'm going to show you in a moment. I'm going to go through the GitHub server that's under the desk. I'm going to open a terminal and we'll go through what I have got set up on that machine. Because it's going to be retired, that machine is going to be retired. I'm probably going to use its case for the guts of my old machine. So yeah, that's my quick update to the server tinkering. I do hope you stick around for more. I hope over the next few days, because I've had a whole week off work, pre-Christmas, I've had a whole week off work. I've played a little bit of World of Warships. I've obviously been playing with my machine. Now this machine dual boots. It dual boots Debian, but it's currently in Windows 10. You're looking at me on Windows 10. The reason is because it dual boots so the wife can just turn it on while I'm not here and she can just use the machine. I didn't want to teach her Linux, so I have to install Windows. So Windows 10 is on, but it's completely locked down. I've literally just been setting up the cameras to make sure everything worked. And in fact, the third camera was unhappy. The awesome camera was unhappy. Hence why you've got that one over there, and I've got that one there. Anyway, Merry Christmas to you all before this, this season of things begins. But I've been so busy. That's the only reason I've been quite lax in what I'm going on with. There is a software project coming up, and I might get an hour, half hour this afternoon on it with you. So what I've got is do you remember the multi-boxer that I had on the private World of Warcraft server? Well, I'm not using that anymore. Can't use that anymore. But I wanted to carry on with the problem of moving a unit or a player unit from one node to another in a computing environment. So on the machine underneath there is a Docker instance running an Ubuntu. In that there is a 4K by 4K play area. It's just a flat plane with a few blocks like virtually knocked on it, so there's some of the vertices are said that you can't cross, and it's just walking around. It's using an A-star algorithm. It picks a target location, it A-star algorithms to it, and then it starts walking the line at a certain rate. So you see this number move around as it's orientating itself and moving. It's running at 30 frames a second, but within those frames it does a load of recalculation stuff, so it's only changing at 30 frames a second. That's then being fed out strangely enough over serial port. Serial port. Why serial port? Well, I'd actually borrowed the networking, if you remember, to copy all the data to my new machine. I took all the network out of that machine, and the onboard device was disabled. I disabled it in favour of the 4 bonded devices. So serial port was what it was. What I'm going to do is get that code off there. I'm going to get that back on Ethernet so I can use the device, use the box. So that's the Wellington server. This machine was called, well, the old workstation was called Napoleon. This one doesn't have a name yet. So I had Napoleon and Wellington. And then the virtual machines were Ney and Blucher. But they're not on at the moment. But that Docker container hasn't got a name either. It's going to move, and it's going to give me all its information. Once I've done that, I'm going to write a visualization tool in SDL probably to let me see what's going off. Now, my experience with SDL came about 2-3 years ago when I started a project for my previous workplace. It was a cross-platform Windows and Linux gaming machine, and since then I haven't personally touched SDL. Though at my current work we have another chap has used SDL to make a faux renderer for a project so we could visualize things while we were working on it, and I wasn't involved. Although I kind of like SDL, I really like it for its cross-platformness, and at work we didn't use it for the cross-platformness per se, but we wanted to. So I'm going to write something on here today. I'm going to throw it together very quickly, very cheaply. I'm going to have it back up onto that machine. I'm going to have that machine's back up, and then we can start moving stuff around. Once that machine's back on Ethernet, back happy, we can think about the upgrading the tech tinkering of the other server. So that's all of this equipment. Speak to you all soon. Bye bye.